Hello and welcome to our webinar entitled 5 Roadmaps to Successful Projects in JDE. My name is Frasula Koftaru and I'm the Communications Lead here at ALLOut, and I'm terribly excited to welcome you all today for a webinar of sharing insights and expertise in the JDE community. So today we'll highlight 5 common project scenarios that many organisations face in JD Edwards, and then we'll explore strategic roadmaps to develop a best fit security and compliance response. So whether you're looking to enhance user experience through menu filtering, manage user access and segregation of duties, implement an open to close security model, or integrate change control into your compliance workflows, or even demonstrate auditing and accountability, this webinar is certainly for you. This webinar is also for you if you're not quite sure where your company fits in to all of these scenarios, because hopefully we'll give you some ideas for next steps. So let's take a closer look at our agenda for today. So I'd like to kick off, as usual, by taking you through an overview of what our software does and explain how our solutions fit into the JDE architecture as an add-on toolset. We'll then go into 5 common security scenarios that you may recognize as your own and explain how our ALLOut tools can help you overcome the challenges that you may be facing. We'll dive in and find solutions that are tailor-made for your security and compliance journey. And then we'll finish off with a demo of our industry-trusted data product called StartOut that simplifies these processes, providing pre-configured security, roles, and menus to get you 90% of the way to your goals. And hopefully we'll have some time for questions too. So this is our mission statement, all of which is achieved through tools that focus on 7 key areas. So essentially, we simplify and enhance JD Edwards access and risk management. And as I said, that is essentially done through risk detection and SOD management, access reporting, risk auditing, security management, system access change management, project acceleration, and enhanced user productivity. So essentially, this is our mission statement and our ethos, in a sense, that we've been working towards for 20 years now. We'll take a little closer look at the design and integration into JDE and how our tools essentially fit into the JDE architecture. This year marks 20 years of ALLOut security, and within that time, we've nurtured a global customer base, helping them achieve their security, risk management, and compliance goals. So what does set ALLOut apart? Essentially, it's primarily 3 unique benefits. Firstly, it's how and where our software operates, and that's within the JDE ecosystem as an add-on toolset. So using native JDE tables and concepts, i.e. security, roles, and menus, the software is installed directly into your JDE environment. So ALLOut implementation offers a risk-free approach, delivering out-of-the-box functionality as a result. Secondly, there's no need for additional user training because users are already familiar with the system and its concepts. Thirdly, our modular toolset is entirely scalable and cost-effective. So customers define ROI on their own terms, picking modules they need, minus complicated lock-ins to suit their unique JDE business requirements. Primary pillars of our risk management software include visibility, user access, control, and accountability. So let's take a look at these one by one. Knowledge is power and reporting is knowing. So having real-time actionable insights into risk hotspots when it comes to critical access, system usage, and SOD conflicts, for example, helps remediation efforts and achieve compliance objectives such as SOX and ISO certifications. We'll take a closer look at the report tools that we have on offer and how that can help a certain project later on. Secondly, streamlining user access by design means giving users access only to programs they need to complete tasks and carry out processes via security, roles, and menus, which also enhances user productivity and minimizes human error. More on this in due course. And thirdly, change management gives you control over the who, hows, where, and whens of making changes to access via role-based restrictions, testing, and environment promotion. Plus, further audit functionalities give you UDO alerts and visibility on changes that have been made, which you can incorporate into an internal review process. Once again, we'll go into details on all of these tools and functionalities as we move through the webinar. Now, another pillar of our software that's essentially helped us go and develop a great community relationships with customers and partners over the past 20 years is that we are known for being very user-centric. And this is incredibly evident in our customer portal. So we've been cultivating business support for over 20 years and continue to invest in innovative ways to help customers achieve their goals. The portal is your gateway to an array of helpful tools and tips and videos, including installation and functionality videos, online access to the product manual, the ALLOut Academy, which is an online learning platform with business tracks and certifications, and now partner-orientated support. That's the latest addition to the Academy. And it's great for helping employees achieve KPIs that matter and also training new members of the team, or if the team is IT, audit, or finance. In the portal, you'll also find software support such as product change requests, and you can also download the latest product versions, upgrades, along with detailed deliverables. So when we say you, we really do mean you. As we'll see, ALLOut security features are designed to meet the specific requirements of IT, C-level executives, finance, and audit teams through targeted functionality designed by our top-tier industry experts. Essentially, our developers have an unparalleled understanding of users' needs and the JDE architecture within the industry, and that really does show in the targeted functionalities that we provide. So, as well as security, our tools do focus on helping you achieve compliance standards, whatever that means to you in whichever part of the globe you're in. Compliance standards are constantly evolving globally, so keeping up with recommended controls is crucial, which is what we aim to help our customers achieve. Now, the connection between controls and compliance has literally been solidified by the ISO 27002 documentation, which provides best practice guidelines on how companies can achieve the ISO 27001 certification. And they detail this through preventative, protective, and corrective measures. They do this by essentially defining certain controls that you can see on the screen, and our software and tools cover the demands of those controls defined in these guidelines, and particularly the ones that you can see on your screen. So let's take a look at what your project journey might be. And we'll focus the rest of the webinar on 5 different types of scenarios you may be facing. But we recognize essentially that no security and compliance journey is the same. And to best represent this truth, we've organized the webinar into how our tools can help with the most common real-life situations in our experience that our customers have been facing. And we've grouped them into 5 scenarios, and we hope that they resonate with you. And at least one of the doors that you can see on this screen may be able to provide you the solutions that you need. Let's take a look at those now. So today we'll take a deep dive into these 5 common scenarios and explain how our tools can help you overcome associated challenges at every stage. Now, it's very important to remember that these are not linear stages. We won't be looking at them as progressive stages, and there will be overlaps. So I'll briefly take you through them one by one. Perhaps your company is just starting out and you're managing an open security model. We'll talk about tools that can help there. Perhaps your company needs greater visibility through access reporting and SOD reporting. We'll talk about your options. Perhaps you need to restructure your security model and move from an open to closed or deny all. We'll talk about options available to you there. Perhaps your company needs greater control and you need to apply access change control. Or perhaps you need to provide greater transparency and get ownership and accountability for compliance or for internal reviews. So we'll talk about your options there. Let's move on to the first scenario now. Before we do that, it is actually, yes, important to say that all of the things we'll be talking about today are very difficult to achieve in standard JDE. It's complex. Why is it complex? Because you're juggling many moving parts around the JDE modules and concepts. So our solutions provide automation, consistency, efficiency, and accuracy when it comes to processes and workflows, while also providing you with added functionality that moves you above and beyond your original investment in JDE. So this is the first scenario, managing an open security model. If you resonate with this, then perhaps you've got minimum security in place, perhaps only critical programs, critical access, probably one role assigned per user. And the downside of that is that, yes, it works, but the roles must give extensive access. Your main objective is control and manage security better within your existing open model. Now, the best practice advice here would be to move to a closed security model with multiple roles per user to give most effective and easiest access control. However, you might not be ready to move to a closed security model, so what can be done as an interim solution? Well, you can apply menu filtering. It's easier to use in security, and that will give you minimum control whilst enhancing your user experience and productivity. Menu filters are indeed important. Now, without them, users are able to see every folder on every task view, including those unrelated to their job, with or without security in place. Now, to ensure users see only relevant programs, JDE menu filters reduce the task view to folders that are applicable. But however beneficial this is, it's hard to achieve in standard JDE. Now, during the demo section of this webinar, you'll see just how AOS tools can make this goal far more efficient by enabling you to manage multiple roles at once in a grid on a single screen in web or FAT client. And that essentially can help give your users the task view that they need to carry out only the tasks that they need. Now, it's important to remember, though, that filtering is meant to complement security, not replace it. But essentially, you can think of it, it's not security, but essentially it helps. So let's take a look at the second scenario, visibility and SOD requirements. This may be your situation. Your security model is unclear. Roles are individually granting too much access. You probably need to ensure segregation of duties is applied effectively. The objective is to get greater visibility over system access and SOD exposure. Best practice, once again, industry recommended advice here would be to move to a closed security model with multiple roles per user to give more effective and easiest access control. But again, you may not be ready to move to a closed security model. So what is the interim solution? The interim solution is to identify and manage risks via access and segregation of duties reporting and apply security remediation as necessary. Viewing and reporting on security data in JDE and standard JDE is a manual challenge, especially when the information you're looking for is spread across many tables and that the many components of JDE access, including role relationships, task views, and menu filtering. Now, gathering all that information and data manually is tough, as I'm sure you're well aware. Now, ALLOut, we have extensive ranges of reports and tools that help simplify and automate reporting over all 400 security types, which you can configure and run according to your business needs. Depending on which questions you want to ask, our reports help you retrieve the data you need quickly, to review existing security in real time and analyze by user, role, process, program, as well as task view and environment information. You can also look at company and business unit access while diving deeper into row and application security. The reports are extensive and it really depends on what you need greater visibility on. All our reports help you quantify and mitigate risk based on industry best practice rules, critical process lists, and recommended controls that are constantly being updated to be in line with evolving risk and policy requirements. You can define and design your segregation of duties rules with our out-of-the-box data product SOD master or SOD master, and once in place, you'll be able to identify security and compliance gaps quickly with reports that aid remediation efforts more effectively and efficiently. This is an example of a critical access report here. And this is an example of our segregation of duties reports here. Again, you can see the rules. Now, moving from the left to the right, you'll see a detailed list of rules, programs, effective security in place, and whether or not that constitutes as an SOD violation, depending on the configuration options that you've chosen, or if you've just decided to use our best practice approach and rules, then the violations and conflicts will appear in red, as you can see. Let's look at scenario 3 now, which you may resonate with. So best practice security is required. You need deny all or split bigger roles into smaller roles that don't, give you the problem of segregation of duties breaches. Now you need all this to meet maintenance and compliance objectives. Your objective is to implement a closed model quickly without causing business interruptions. You need to move from open to closed security model, essentially. The solution is to use a tried and tested role set and experience in-house or external consultants. Assume multiple roles to leverage benefits of standard JD Edwards design. The role sequencer can be ignored with ALLOut. Key tip: apply menu filtering to maximize the user experience and productivity with Solution Explorer, and get version access control at the same time. Focus on what roles can do, not who gets what roles at this stage. So while an open or exclusive model is the standard that JDE ships with, industry best practice recommends the open to close model. Why, you might be asking? Now, this approach denies, limits, or grants user access based on how far users need to move through the process life cycles, if at all. This enhances security by enforcing segregation of duties, protects sensitive data, ensures data integrity, assures that only authorized users can make critical decisions or modifications, and essentially improves system performance. But the point is, how do you get there without help? Well, with help and with AOS tools is preferable because there are a number of ways to achieve deny all using AOS tools. Now, this includes a role restructuring project built, which involves building a completely new role set with a new F00950 security and new menu filters. Essentially define security by role with segregation of duties and access controls at the role level. You could also utilize existing roles with menu filtering. Now, this means you can get to keep your existing roles and leverage menu filtering records to generate F00950 security. So start from scratch or use your own existing data. Our tools help you essentially develop a closed model depending on your preferences and what's easiest for you. So the bulk of this security work is done at the role level. You're granting access to programs as needed and using menu filters to block the empty folders left behind. As the roles are assigned to the users will inherit both security and menu filters, controlling what can be seen and done. So when taking this next step towards deny all, it's very important to keep menus and securities in sync, because with this security model, the user won't be able to access programs unless that permission has been granted. If you need to redefine roles and security from scratch, we have tools available to jumpstart your initiative, as well as all the screens and reports that can support your transition effectively and efficiently. Let's move on to the fourth scenario now. Now, manage access changes. Deny all security exists, but changing security is a struggle for your company. You don't understand, or your IT people can't get their heads around it. And the business asks, okay, we need to give Pete the same access as Anne so that he can do X, Y, Z. Now, the multiple role sequencer is hard to get right, and management suggests security testing. The objective is to manage changes, i.e. security and role assignments, and multiple role usage effectively with or without a separate security testing environment. The solution is to use ALLOut to avoid role sequencer problems. If required, user testing can be done in a separate environment. Try to change access by changing role assignments rather than role security. Key tip here is to use role assignment change control to document business approval for role assignments. ALLOut gives you the option that assignments can be approved either before the CNC applies them or delegate it to the business entirely. Our tools make it easy to implement and automate change control processes within JD Edwards through intuitive workflows. Now, whether you need to set up role assignment approvals, configure alerts for segregation of duties, risks, or sensitive role assignments, or even ensure through testing, validation, and sign-off for security menu or role changes, we've got you covered. Tools for everything that we've just mentioned. Additionally, our tools provide control over promoting changes between environments, keeping your processes streamlined and secure. Now, I'm sure we all remember with the recent CrowdStrike outage, we know how important testing changes can be before going live to help avoid business interruptions. So as you can see on the screen, with three main principles here: implement role assignment request and approval, configure restrictions to role assignments, test and validate security changes within roles. ALLOut can help with all of this. Let's go on to the fifth and final scenario now. And this has to do with auditing and accountability requirements. Perhaps you resonate with this situation. You've got role-based access control in place. Additional access requires role requests. Change control processes do exist, but there's no accountability for historical access approvals that have been made. The main objective is for you to maintain accountability and ensure compliance via approval and auditing best practice documentation. The solution is to record security changes and also record non-JDE changes in F9312 for audit, sampling, and review. Audit and review critical access SOD breaches and monitor changes, plus online access approval workflows. So what are online access approval workflows, you may ask? It's a series of steps that empowers the business to manage segregation of duties and access risks by putting reports into the right hands of managers and role owners and tracking approvals directly in JDE. A compliance owner can schedule reports to be sent out centrally, or you may prefer to give managers and role owners more control to generate real-time self-service reports. Once again, configuration options are always available depending on your needs. And that wraps up our 5 scenarios. So what's the next step for us to understand a foundational point for all of your projects or scenarios that we've been talking today? And we'll go through a demo on our data product called StartOut, which provides 90% of the security roles and menus for all of your projects. So we'll be walking you through a foundational tool, essentially, that can help you get most projects off the ground. And it's a great starting point, if you will. And yes, it's appropriately called StartOut. So creating effective task views in standard JDE is challenging and time-consuming. Many challenges arise because of the extensive fast path menu and the deeply nested menu structures, as well as the need to standardize changes across environments and implement security best practices. So what you'll see with this demo, hopefully, is that with Start Out as your starting point, all of this can be accomplished much, much more easily. So what you can see on your screen is Start Out, which is our ALLOut, one of two ALLOut data products. Now, Start Out, as I mentioned earlier, is a spreadsheet tool designed to simplify security and task view setup in JD Edwards. Now, with this pre-built synchronized data set, you can create, maintain, and compare your existing data with best practice data for menus, roles, and security, all in a single worksheet. But what does this mean exactly? I can hear you. Okay, so I'll take you through what this means. Now, firstly, it means you can manage task views, roles, security, E1 pages, menu filtering, and versions side by side on the same worksheet. It also means you can sync and compare your current data with recommended best practices that are provided along with this data product. It also means you can save time and ensure consistency in your data management processes. And most essentially, it gives you a single view of the data that you need to avoid the time-intensive searches and coordination challenges of managing all this data across wide-ranging JDE components. Now, this is probably a challenge that many of you are familiar with. On the other side now, when considering how Start Out can assist with complex projects, this last point of managing data scattered across JDE components is fundamental. Now, as a result of JDE's standard architecture, data is, as we said, scattered across various areas that require time-consuming searches and coordination challenges between multiple moving parts. Now, by providing a consistent and centralized view of data, Start Out saves valuable time and effort for all members of your IT team and whoever else is working on providing the necessary data. And this is particularly crucial for JDE security projects and scenarios such as the ones that we've already spoken about, but I'll give you, for example, a list. Now, this product is great for implementing a new system, for example, installing JD Edwards at a new site. It's great for the project of functional to technical upgrades. So example, moving from XE to 9.2. It's great for menu upgrades or redesign, Solution Explorer menus, and implementing E1 pages. And it's great for security implementations or conversions, moving from an open to closed model. So let's take a brief look at the worksheets available and the multiple tabs you can see on the bottom here. So you've got menu and role best practices here. Now, this holds data to build task views around process-based roles. Now, this includes multiple folder levels, programs, exits, roles, and security. Now, you've got the public tabs, which include security data for granting access to all users. So if you notice closely, you've got two menu and roles tabs side by side, and you've got two public tabs side by side. So public menu and roles both have two tabs. Now the data on the best practice tabs is read only and can be used as a reference. There's all the essential data that you can use as a reference or cross-reference tool. And the second set of tabs will include your company name. So initially, the data on both tabs is the same. And then you essentially customize the data to fit your needs and objectives of your company. Now, the StartOut toolset is used to launch StartOut tools, including configuration options, which we'll take a look at next. Before we go into the tools themselves and the configuration, it's probably helpful for a broad understanding of what you can achieve and how it all works. So let's begin. So let's take a closer look at the data for a broad understanding of what you can achieve and how it all works. And for that, we'll first dive deeper into the StartOut toolset, which is divided into 4 sections, and I'll show you that now. So you've got one-time configuration, managing JDE projects using StartOut, maintaining JDE data within StartOut, extracting StartOut data for upload to JDE. And we'll go through each section one by one. So starting with the basics, this section, one-time configuration, will get you up and running. So the StartOut configuration options streamline setup and maintenance, combining layout, menu, task view structure, and security flag customization into a cohesive framework that makes sense to you. Start with column hiding and validation. Now, this defines the layout and validation of your menu and roles sheet, and you get to basically click the appropriate button within this screen depending on your project objectives and what you want to work on. For example, Solution Explorer menus, E1 pages, roles, and security. Now, the StartOut menu levels are labels for the folder or programs within a menu, normally based on the folder depth. Now, they help you apply structure to a menu and organize task views. For example, all level 2 folders have a particular role assigned. Now, this facilitates a structured hierarchy and role assignment process. All are configurable, essentially, as well. Let's take a look at the StartOut security flags now. Now, StartOut security flags, these are basically 1-character ACD flags representing the different combinations of application security and action code security settings. Now, this really does simplify security creation and maintenance, and once again, are indeed configurable. So let's take a look at the project options available here. You've got the Manage Worksheet section. Here you'll be able to format worksheets to define your StartOut standards. You can reorder worksheets, rename worksheets, delete sheets, copy and move records from one worksheet to another. Example of all the types of worksheets you can be working with. Now, the next function is split merge. Now, when working with StartOut data, it may be helpful, if the project is really, really large and complex, it may be helpful to split the data into multiple sheets. And that way you can divide the work among team members, and then you can merge the data back together and then upload the final version in JDE. It's really, really handy when you've got, when the project it involves a lot of data that needs to be worked on, and you can just split that up into teams and then merge all the data back together and upload directly into JDE. You can create a worksheet. Essentially, you can create a pre-formatted worksheet specifically for exporting data from JDE into StartOut here. Now, this next section talks about maintaining JDE data with StartOut. So the maintain and compare data can compare, contrast, and move data between multiple worksheets by displaying up to 3 worksheets side by side. You've got mass default data and mass validate data, and these are helpful tools to make mass updates to StartOut data. Section 4 here, extracting StartOut data for upload to JDE. Now, the overall aim of StartOut is to help you customize, extract, and upload data into JDE to use for your business needs. Now, that's the primary role here. So the tools in this section work together to streamline this process, enabling you to extract completed data from StartOut, format it, and easily upload into JDE using AOS grids. Now, here is the list of different types of data. You can extract Solution Explorer data, role and super role data, F00950 security, menu filtering data, extract and generate E1 pages, and extract versions. And all of that is very simply achieved through AOS grids, and for you to get started and to actually use the data that you've created within JD Edwards. So let's go back and take a closer look now at the data on the worksheets and how everything works, starting with the menu and roles data tab. Now, to help us understand the screen, it's best to explain some fundamental concept first. Now, a JDE task view is organized through a series of nested folders used to navigate to the various JDE programs your users might need. Now, if we scroll down this screen, we can see how extensive the JDE menu is when unfiltered. Now, this makes managing task views alongside security and segregation of duties breaches manually an incredibly tough task. Additionally, enhancing the user experience with a task view that is easy to navigate also enhances productivity, which is where StartOut comes to its fore. Now, StartOut helps you overcome these challenges with a more organized design using menu levels and folder depth. Now, these levels refer to levels of data that are numbered as well as color-coded into categories for clarity. Now, let's take a look at the structure, which simplifies categorization and navigation. And we'll start from the bottom and work our way up here. You've got application or UBE, processes, which is a logical grouping of applications that relates to a business process, for example, general accounting, journal entry. Role page, which is a JDE system role or E1 page, which groups together a number of logical functional sections. Number 3, you've got function, a combination of JDE roles, modular function. You've got module here, which is a JDE module or address book, for example, and group, which is a combination of JDE modules that fit into a logical area. And you've got exits, which is an application or UBE that is either called by a program or is an exit from a program. So standard Excel functionality on the worksheets help you filter menu levels and work on the data that you need. So you might not need to work on all of the modules or all of the roles. So you only need to filter and work with the data that you need for particular projects or maintenance at any given time. Now, this essentially reduces the back and forth, as well as cross-referencing data across the countless screens, as we said. The next 8 columns contributes to task view creation, and these are something we'll go through now. Folder depth we've already spoken about, which is an all-out concept that refers to how much data is in each folder. The example JDE task, so we'll be moving from left to right. Example JDE task, now this is the JDE task on which the task is based. Task ID, used to define the task ID value in the F900 table. The task name, now this is the description that will show on the task view. The option code defines what happens when a program task is executed. You've got the program, form, and version. And this defines the object that is called when the task is executed. The example version is the standard version on which the process was originally based. The version being used. The role defines the role associated with each process in E1 page that can be created for each. Now, the right-hand side of this screen is used to define security. The secure level determines which objects will be used when creating security records. The security flag enables security to be set with a single character denoting action and application security, as already discussed. And finally, let's take a look at what's on the public tabs here. So the data on the public tab is slightly different because it only focuses on security, not task views. The security created here can be extracted and uploaded to JD Edwards using the specified processes that we've already spoken about in section 4 of the StartOut toolset. Now, it's incredibly important to note that the extraction process takes into account security from this tab, as well as from the menu, roles, and Star Public or security tabs to ensure that duplicate or redundant security records are not copied and avoided. Now, this is the sophisticated functionality that's very important to understand. There is no additional data that's being created. Now, this is once again a fundamental positive deliverable of StartOut and what it's capable of. So essentially, that brings us to an end of the demo. And I'll just wait now. We may have some time for some questions from our audience. Steph, my colleague, is gathering them up as we speak. Yes, we have some questions. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll read them out now. So a user has asked, once I get my security data loaded from StartOut into JDE, do I need to go back to the spreadsheet for future changes? That's a really, really good question. And the answer simply is no. Because of the nature of the way that ALLOut works as an add-on tool set, it's already all the data that you've already is incorporated into standard JDE. It's the same concepts, the same tables. So no, that essentially means that you don't need to go back to the spreadsheet for future changes. You can make your changes directly into your existing JDE system as you would, because our toolset is simply an add-on already incorporated into JDE. Another question that we have: can I extract my own security data and upload to StartOut? Really good question. Yes, we do have processes and worksheets in place for that. And we've also got some excellent video tutorials that guide you through each step in the Consulting Academy that my colleagues have created, and they really do help clarify all the processes for you. So yes, you can indeed extract your own security data and upload it to StartOut and use it as a comparative tool with the, you can use it to compare your data to best practice data available in StartOut, and then create your completed data that works best for your business, upload that back into JDE for greater use.